Hello guys, today I'm gonna analyze my own irises, as you can see here on the right hand side. And I'm gonna show you, give you basically a little introduction into the science of iridology and show you what I've kind of found in my own irises and how that translates to basically real life things that I found about my own health. So let's start off with what I found in my right iris basically, okay? So you can see these, I've written down here some things so that I don't forget. Small orange spots, okay? There's basically only one of them, which is here, right? You can see this very clear dark orange spot. There will be a couple of other spots that are slightly orange, but none of them are as orange as this one basically. And what is interesting is that it is basically, when we look at this iris chart right here on the right hand side, we can see that this orange spot is basically where the liver is, right? You can see this in the bottom left basically, and the liver is also in the bottom left. And of course this makes sense, right? I'm probably detoxing from a lot of penicillin and antibiotics. This is where the orange/brown spot comes from. And of course it makes sense that this spot is now in the liver, given that the liver is most certainly detoxing from it. So then we have in my right iris, but also my left iris, which I will go into shortly, which, you know, as you can see has a lot of problems, but we will get into that shortly. I have a lot of white spots everywhere around my iris, but especially on the edge, which is very important because you have to understand that the inner part of the iris basically shows your inner body and the outer part of the iris shows the outer body, okay? So for example, you can see that my outer part of my body is relatively clean compared to the inner part of my body. And as you can see, you know, I don't have many pimples, I don't have many problems with anything outside of my body. And this basically shows in the iris. But what I wanted to say is that there are a lot of white spots around the iris. You can see these ones, all of these spots here, all of them that you see, even these closer ones, but mostly these spots right here and also in the other image is very open here. You can see it here, 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 here. All of these spots are lymphatic congestion, meaning that my lymph system is not working properly or properly. It's probably not working properly. So what I need to do to fix this is to do some hot baths. I don't have a bathtub. The only person in my family that has access to a bathtub right now is my grandparents. So I'll probably have to go to them and do a couple of hot baths there. Because what the lymphatic system is basically for is it not only does it clean the body, but it also, of course, cleans itself, and it delivers nutrients to many parts of the body. And when the lymph system is basically congested, like mine is, pretty heavily actually, I mean, this is probably one of the worst lymphatic congestions that you will ever see. When the lymph system is basically congested, then the blood has to do everything. The only thing that the blood usually does is to deliver oxygen, to cells and to all of the body. That's the only thing that the blood usually is meant to do. But when the body is unhealthy, when the lymph system is not working properly, then the blood has to do what the lymph system usually does, which is, again, to clean the body, to get rid of toxins, to, you know, deliver nutrients to everywhere. And this is usually what the lymph system does, and mine is incredibly congested, meaning that it doesn't do these things, sadly. Okay. Another thing that you can see is that I have one activity/stress ring, right? This is what I've written down here. It's not going fully around. You can see this here. I will mark it here. This ring right here that you will see, right? It's a little bit hard to see, but you can see it goes here. It doesn't go around the iris completely, but it's still there. It's only in my right eye really to be seen. I mean, you can see a bit of it here, right? You can see a small ring right here. I have one activity/stress ring, which basically means that I need to move my body about an hour a day. And this doesn't mean that you necessarily have to do heavy exercises such as working out or cardio or anything. You basically just want to move. Like your body, when it doesn't move for an hour, or at least for me, when it doesn't move for an hour, I get stressed. And this is really what happens. Even before I knew this iridology and I did this analysis of mine or of my irises, I knew that I like to go for a walk basically every single day for about an hour. 45 minutes to 1 hour is what I do. And if I don't do it, if I don't move around whatsoever, if I stay at home all day, I don't do anything, I get stressed. Like I really get stressful, like stressed thoughts. I don't feel as good, I get negative thoughts. And when I don't do that, when I move around and do a lot of these things, then I don't have that. So this is basically what the digestive, activity / stress ring shows you. So the next thing is what we're going to take a look at is the stomach / digestive ring. That is this ring right here. Everything basically in this circle right here. You see this, what looks like mountains basically. This is the stomach digestive ring. And you can see that the coloring of it is a little bit dark. You can definitely see some dark spots right here, but it's not too bad. It's closer to my, it's closer to the rest of my iris, so it's actually pretty fine. It's slightly dark, meaning there's slight toxicity in there, but it's not as bad. The bigger problem is whatever is around the digestive ring. When we look at the iris chart right here, it's the colon, the small intestines. So basically the whole rest of the digestive tract. So the so-called digestive ring only really shows the stomach. It's also called the stomach ring, which again, in my case, is pretty fine. But the whole other part of the digestive tract basically is pretty poisoned. Usually when we talk about orange or yellow coloring, which I have right here, this usually means iodine and sulfur. I have no clue how I got iodine or sulfur in my body. I remember that back in my childhood days, we always ate salt with iodine. So maybe this comes from that, but I really couldn't tell you anything, really. And yeah, a good part, we've talked about a lot of bad parts right now. Good parts about my, general irises is that I have very good, or not very good, but pretty good constitution. Constitution basically means how many fibers you have. As you can see, all these white things going from the pupil to the outer part of my eye, those are all fibers. And the more fibers you have and the thicker they are, the closer they are together, the more cellular life you in general have, which means that basically the healthier you are, because the more cells you have, the more healthy you usually are, right? Because for example, when you have tons of cells dying, then you will develop cancer, which of course is a sign that you're not healthy. Yeah, but I have good cellular life. I don't have a lot of lesions. Lesions are another thing that I will get into really quickly. Lesions are, for example, these things right here. You can see that these fibers that I have, or that I should have, are torn here. They are torn here, which is always an indication that something is going wrong. For example, here, these tears in this area would indicate something around the thyroid / vocal cord area. Okay? So something around my vocal cords or my thyroid might have a small problem. Okay, you can see here some small tears here, which are the ear, neck, about that. This is not the best chart, by the way. There are charts that are way better, but this is just to give you a general kind of understanding. Also, when it comes to the liver part, there's also a small, relatively large tear actually here, which actually seems to be relatively deep, especially around this this area where we have the penicillin. So yeah, that's something to I guess, I moved it, to take a look at. Another open lesion, which is very interesting, Another open lesion that I have is around the lungs, right? There, as you can see, around this area, I have some open lesions here. They're already kind of healing, right? But they're kind of tears, lesions nonetheless. And you will see that those are around the lung area, which is very interesting because, as you may know, I did a detox with moldy berry juice about 4 months ago. And I had, or I don't know, 3 to 4 months ago, and I had very high or a lot of detoxing from that. I basically coughed the whole time, which of course would make sense, right? That this is then, or that I have some lesions then being shown in the lung area. Yeah, in this eye, the left eye in general, you can see just a lot of, yeah, a lot of this, like a lot of miscoloring in the whole digestive tract, colon area, and so on. I would imagine that this comes from, I don't know, mainly probably light and heavy metals that I've gotten not only from, you know, toxins as a kid, but also from, yeah, I've eaten a lot of canned food in my teenage years and even in my adult years, actually. So I believe that this comes from that. But I remember, or I know that I've looked at some childhood images of mine, and I already saw a lot of this brown, orange discoloring at, I think, 3 or 4 years of age. And the only thing that I really had at that point was toxins. I got a lot of I almost said the word. I got a lot of toxins as a kid. I think in the first 1 year of being a child in Germany, you get about 30 toxins, which is crazy, of course. And yeah, I had these common symptoms of toxin, that you get from toxins. I had an ear infection, throat infection, all that kind of stuff that you basically get from toxins. And I basically went through all of that. And in that time where I went through all of that, all of this discoloring basically developed, and I haven't yet been able to kind of get rid of it. And I would say that partly that is because of my clogged lymphatic system, which I definitely have to take a look at, or definitely have to fix soon. Yeah, Aajonus talks about lymphatic system detoxes as, you basically take hot baths. You take them from 101 to 105 degrees Fahrenheit for 60 to 90 minutes, ideally, of course, 90, and you never go below that temperature. And this is supposed to basically dissolve all of the cooked vegetable oils and vegetable oils in general, right? Our bodies are simply too cold to, basically use any sort of vegetable oil and any sort of vegetable fat in general. Because when you, for example, a cow has a body temperature of, I believe, 100 and, I'm not quite sure, I think 105, maybe 106, something like that. So their body temperature is high enough to where the vegetable oils don't harden. But in our body, they harden and they clog up the lymphatic system. There are also other things, there are also other toxins, toxins, and so on that will be stored in the lymphatic system. But the thing that is clogging them most is the vegetable oils. And that is what I have sadly eaten a shit ton of as a kid. I think my parents have never even cooked in anything else other than vegetable oils. So yeah, I have a very, very congested lymphatic system, which is probably should be the number one priority for me right now, to fix that. You know, this was kind of, doing this analysis of me was kind of an eye-opener, because I always thought that my lymphatic system was probably working, but it most certainly is not. And I can even feel, you know, when I'm going through some spots where the lymphatic system is, I can even feel how it's somewhat swollen and it's hard and so on, and it shouldn't be that way. So yeah, this will be, again, like I said, this is going to be a very important thing, because a cleaned out lymphatic system is going to aid you for the rest of your life. It's not going to clean itself. You can eat as much raw meat, as much fruits, as much detoxing stuff as you want. Your lymphatic system will not get better when you do not do hot baths. So yeah, this is a very big priority for me right now, and or will be in the future. And yeah, I will be following Aajonus's program, and we will see. Hopefully it will all clear up, and I'll get my A10 eyes. Yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Maybe you learned something. I hope you did. If you have any questions regarding iridology, I'm not a complete pro right now. I'm still learning and, you know, kind of developing some skills in the subject. But yeah, if you have any questions regarding this or any other topics or any new ideas for videos, then leave them in the comments, and I'm happy to meet you there. Bye bye guys, have a good one.